Hi all. So this is the first video I'm recording today for Base SAS certification exam preparation, and I'll be uploading more videos so that you people can prepare for the Base SAS certification exam. Here I am assuming that you all must be having this SAS version installed on your software, and if you don't have, you have to get it. This is Base SAS 9 at least 9.3 or 9.4 you have. However, now SAS has also launched a version called SAS University Edition, which you can download and install on your laptop or desktop, and you can virtually use that SAS software to practice SAS program. So this is how a SAS software looks like, and there are three windows basically. It is editor where you will be writing the codes. This is log window when you run your program, and if something goes wrong or right, or how your program is going to behave, you can debug your program with the help of this log window. And output, if your program is supposed to give any output, it will be displayed in the output window. Usually we call it listing output. The important part here is SAS library. By double clicking on this icon, you can easily enter into it, and there are multiple libraries you will find, which has been provided by SAS for practice purpose, and there would be a lot of SAS dataset on which you can use to basically write program and analyze it. So throughout this training I'll be using some sample data sets so that you can also practice on the same. And let's start. So if I talk about this library, I can categorize the libraries basically into two parts, right? So these two parts are, or these two categories are, permanent and temporary. Now let's talk about temporary library first. Why do we call it temporary, and what is temporary library? The temporary library here is whatever icon we are seeing over here. The work library is called temporary library. Why do we call it temporary? Because whatever will be saved in this library will be deleted when you close your SAS session. So the life of the dataset inside this library is only as long as your SAS session is open. And we also call it default library. Default means, like, there are such places where you are supposed to define the library name but you don't define it, then the data would automatically go into this library. That's why we call it default. I'll explain it in detail later on. Now, what is permanent library? As my data is getting deleted, if I am saving it inside the work library, so I might need to save my data for a longer duration of time, so I will be creating a permanent library. How do we create it? We can also write a code, or we can use some option given in the file statement to create a library, or we can just right click and click on new, and we can provide the detail to create a library. However, the preferred method to create a library is just by writing a code in the editor window, and that's what people do in the organizations as well. So how do we do that? We write a keyword called libname, clean it. So we just write it libname, and the library ref and the path. So this path is basically where the data will be saved for your library. Okay, so let me write a library code over here. So I will write libname, whatever name I want to give, so let's say ABC, and the path for the library. So let me give a library path over here. Let's say mylib. I just saved my data over here, and I just copy the path and give it here. Okay, and I just run. So to run the program, I can select and press F3, F8, or I can also press this run button over here, or without selecting also I can do the same. So let me run this. Now I see an icon appear over here ABC, and when I go inside I am able to see some libraries, some data sets basically, which are lying on this location. The SAS file lying on this location are visible here. Or so in other words, I can say my library is, this library is the reference of this location, right? So whatever I'm looking over here, basically it's lying on this location, and whatever I'll be saving in this library, whatever I'm going to create, will be going to this location and be saved. That's why when I close my session, my data will not be deleted from this location. Okay, so this is about library. Now let's move ahead. After creating a library, I must be creating some SAS datasets. Let's talk about them, and then later on we'll learn how to create a dataset. So let me open a sample data over here called class. This is how a basic SAS dataset look like. Even each SAS dataset will look like, or will be in the form of row and columns. Here, whatever is there in the column, like this, this and this, in SAS we call them variables, and the thing which are rows, like these rows are called observations. So in order to say if someone asks me how many observations are here, I can say there are 19 observations and 5 variables. Okay, so let's talk about variable now. If I'm creating data, I must be creating variables, which are eventually the column name. If I talk about variables, there are two categories, or let's say if I talk about the data type of variable, there are two types of data type in SAS. One is numeric and other one is character. Let's talk about some attributes of these variables. Numeric variables are, let's say, can only save number. Okay, and numbers and decimal basically. Okay, minimum size for a numeric variable is 3 bytes. It is 2 bytes in latest versions. Maximum size is 8 bytes, and the default size is 8 bytes. If some values are missing, let's say I do not have age for James in this dataset, so how will it be blank or what? So if some of the data is missing for numeric variable, then missing values are always represented with a dot. It's called period, and it's a default data type. That means if I'm creating a variable and I don't assign any data type, then the variable would become numeric. So this is about numeric variable. Now let's talk about characters. First of all, I can save any type of data in character, even numbers as well. So no limitation. The minimum size for a numeric variable is 1 byte. The maximum size is 32767 bytes, and the default is 8 byte again. Missing values are represented with blank, and it's not a default data type. Now there is one more confusion people have, which I am going to clear over here, is if a number is written 1 2 3, that doesn't mean it would take or it would consume 3 bytes of space. You can check the size of this, but that depends on the numeric precision of the server. So for a numeric or for a numeric variable, or a digit, a number, it's a little tough to guess the size in bytes. However, for character, let's say if I've written I love you, there's one space here, one space here, then it is like easily we can guess the size of this string. How? For character, one letter or one character is called 1 byte. So there are 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. There are, the size of this string is 10 bytes. Okay, all right. So this is all about variable attributes. Now let's go back. Let's say I know all about variable, I know all about what is numeric and numeric and characters and all. Let's go in detail for SAS coding language here. Anything which starts or which ends with a semicolon is called a statement. Anything which starts with the data, let's say data test in x equals to 1 and run, and ends with a run statement, it's called a data step. And the same, anything which starts with proc, let's say proc print data equals to test and run, and ends with a run statement, is called a proc step. So I can say in this program there are 2 steps, and whatever is written outside of data step and proc step are called global statements. And if I ask you how many statements are here in this program, so there are 3 to 5 and 1, 6 statements in total. SAS process the program step by step. It doesn't work like it will compile the entire program and then do it. It will just process the global statement which is written outside of these steps, and then it will come to a step, process it, finish it, then it will come to the next step, and step by step it will be executing your program. If somewhere the error comes, let's say in this data step for example one error comes, that doesn't mean it will stop over here. It will throw the error in the log and move ahead. So that's how it processes the programs. Let's say I have created a library called ABC, and let me introduce the data step for you. So how to create a data set in SAS. If I need to create a data, I have to write a keyword called data. Now the name which I want to give to my data set, let's say test x equals to 1 and run. So test underscore today, let me write, I run it. If I see my ABC library, I don't see any dataset which is there by the name of test underscore today. Why? Where it has gone? Let me tell you one thing here. Clean it. So whenever we create a dataset, so it should be in the form of, if I'm creating a data, the name should be in the form of library.ds. That means I have to define the library name over here and a dataset name over here, right? So let's say if I want to save my data test in the ABC library, I have to write it like data abc.test. If I'll do that, my data test would be going into the ABC library. Let me do that. So here I did abc.test underscore today, and now I run it. So the moment I run it, I see test underscore today is there in my ABC library. Now let's come to the second point. Suppose I said about the library that work is the default library, okay, and the place where I am supposed to define a library name, and if I don't define it, the default library comes in picture. Like here, when I'm defining a name for a dataset, it should be in the form of abc.test. That means library.dataset name. However, if I only write data test and I don't mention any library name, then it will save this data test inside the default library, that is work. So that means it will be work.test. Okay, let's see. When I just ran this program without any library name and ran it, I see here it is created inside the work library. So that is all about basic as of now. Guys, please let me know how did you feel about this small video which tells you about the basic of SAS programming. I'll be uploading more videos on YouTube, and if you have any doubt, you can just click on the website link given below and send me a query on the email written on the website. I am Lokesh. I'll be waiting for your feedback. Thank you so much.